I'm gonna show you some magic. It's the real thing. I mean, it's all the real thing.
David, I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. Well, you think this is going to cause a little more anger? The world is an angry place. But we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you.
You are deepfake Tom Cruise.
That's me. That's me.
Miles Fisher may have an uncanny resemblance to the superstar, but using advanced technology, what he's created is far more than an extraordinary impersonation.
Have you guys created the best deepfake that has ever been made?
I think we have created the first deepfake that's so realistic that a large majority of people have seen.
Not only seen, but fooled by, including at least one of the world's biggest celebrities.
This is the one that Justin Bieber thought was real.
Fisher says looking and sounding like the leading man made it difficult to chart his own path as an actor. So a year ago, he decided to lean into it, stumbling into a role with repercussions far beyond Hollywood.
As I find myself the unofficial face of this deepfake movement, it's important to learn. And I'm fascinated by this. This is the bleeding edge of technology.
It started when Fisher contacted Belgian visual effects wizard Chris Ume. They began creating viral videos for fun, and they're only getting better.
Still got it.
About 5 days, maximum 6 days, I could turn around something like this.
So you've gone from weeks to days in a matter of a year. This technology is advancing that rapidly.
Yeah.
Hey, listen up, sports and TikTok fans. If you like what you're seeing, just wait till what's coming next.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Hoda Kotb.
Good morning. Good to see you. You are coming on the air right now with breaking news. A massive global technical outage tied to CrowdStrike, which is a major cybersecurity provider, has knocked critical computer infrastructure offline all across the country and, in fact, all around the world. It's an issue with a software update. It's impacting lots and lots of Microsoft computer systems worldwide, from businesses to emergency services, 911, traffic lights, transit systems, and it's having a major impact on airlines as well. American, Delta, United, they're all keeping their flights grounded. started. You're looking at some live scenes from the airport. It is chaos again, 6 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is the scene now. They're having difficulty even printing any kind of boarding passes. This, of course, is a developing situation. The full scope of this problem remains to be seen. And Brian, as we get started right here in Studio 1A, we should point out computers at NBC News right here as we're getting on the air. We're trying to do some workarounds here to get on the air. But this is something that's affecting people worldwide.
Yeah, and other newsrooms, our partners over at Sky News, having issues as well. I mean, this is impacting all different types of businesses. When you talk about airlines, you also talk about, just 911 services, in some cases reporting outages as well. And you're even hearing of anecdotes of banks in other countries experiencing that. We don't yet have reporting of banks in the United States being impacted by this, but this appears to be not just in the United States, worldwide and across different types of industries.
This definitely.
All the edits used in this video were done using AI. Do you know what this means? I'll literally never have to edit a video ever again.
其实有些人说，哎，这个直播换脸它的效果不是很好。我现在用的就是这个直播实时录像。那么直播的话，它这个其实已经是很完善的，包括像这种捏脸什么的，它都是一个常规操作。这个东西是不会破相的，就是包括什么戴口罩啊，或者这个吃个饭什么的。就比如说这个吃个饭，等一下我先把这个美颜关一下，不然的话等一下会影响。这个吃饭、喝水，然后什么摸脸，然后什么捏脸，这种。
But the topic of discussion is that I just lost my job, and I lost it to AI, which is very unfortunate. I think many people joke about the fact that, oh, AI is going to take all our jobs and we're all going to get replaced, and especially within my industry, which is graphic design. My job, I've been a graphic designer for the past 8 years of my life, and I've worked at this specific company for 6 years. You would think that being one of the longest running employees, being there 6 years, having a wage increase almost every year and being very much valued because I was the only graphic designer left, you'd think they want to keep me on as much as possible. And then I did a bit of digging, asked a few people, and it turns out basically all of the material that I've provided over the past 6 years is now being fed to AI and templated. So a design that would take me 30 minutes now takes AI 30 seconds, as it's been trained on all my templates. Essentially, I think it just literally reuses my templates, and then they can input the hex codes they want the email or the website design to be, drag and drop in the client's logo, upload the client's font, and boom, it will generate my template, but using their brand assets. My immediate thought was, well, let's go to some competitor companies and see if they're looking for designers. I've looked at between 10 and 15 competitors, and every single other competitor is doing the exact same thing. Some of them even boasting about it on their website. Like, email and web designers are going to be completely out of jobs this year. Like, it just removes the need for us completely. And I think the graphic design industry is where most people cracked jokes about AI taking over. Oh, AI generation can't do it. It messes up the hands, or it gets things wrong and it clearly looks like AI. But those days are past us. Like, AI progresses incredibly fast, and I've used some of it myself to see if it actually works. It's progressed so far that I genuinely think within the next 6 to 12 months, many, like thousands, even tens of thousands of graphic designers will lose their jobs.
because the intersection of big data, connectivity, and artificial intelligence, and what it does in robotics and genetics and all the other fields, Uli, that you mentioned, everything, that is changing our world in rapid succession. And the future belongs to those who can seize this change. We are positioned right at the cusp of this change, right at the center of this change. We can take it, and we are. It's changing us. It's giving us powers and prowess that we never had before. And cyber is a real domain of power. It's a new kind of warfare, very different from what we've seen before. I'm talking about the capacity, and it's not imaginary, it's not futuristic, and it's not exaggerated. With the click of a button, you can bring down nations to their knees very rapidly, if you so desire.
For the Netanyahu address today?
I am.
You plan to attend?
I do.
And whose guest are you?
Netanyahu.
Okay.
But this is an exceptional moment. Fast-tracking U.S. military aid can dramatically expedite an end to the war in Gaza and help prevent a broader war in the Middle East. In World War II, as Britain fought on the front lines of civilization, Winston Churchill appealed to Americans with these famous words: "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job." Today, as Israel fights on the front line of civilization, I too appeal to America. Give us the tools faster and we'll finish the job faster.
Forget about Twitter and all the controversy. Elon Musk makes some very cool things. This, in my opinion, is the coolest. Neuralink. It's a piece of tech, maybe one of the most developed technologies ever. It's a brain chip that literally takes what you're thinking and turns it into action. There's one person who has it, 30-year-old Nolan Arbaugh. So he is living the proof. He has been paralyzed, neck down, 8 years. Freak accident at a lake. Left him unable to perform any tasks where you'd use your hands. Until now. To call this life-changing, right, is an understatement. Nolan signed up for the clinical trials. He wanted to be first. Now, this involved a brain surgery to get the chip implanted under his skull. He now says if he thinks it, he can do things only his hands could do before. Like what? Use a computer, play chess, play video games. Nolan joins us now. I could do like 2 hours with you at this conversation. I'm gonna have to have you on the podcast so we can really talk through all this, but give people what they need to know. Like, let's start with when they gave you this option, were you afraid that like, oh no, like, could I die when they do this to me? Or like, take us through what it was like to have this operation and this risk.
Oh, are we here to talk about Neuralink? I thought I was on here to talk about aliens. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it was. I wasn't afraid at all. I have my faith. I have a very strong relationship with God, and I wasn't afraid at all. I was at such peace. I trust all the people that I worked with leading up to this. All the people on the Barrows Neurological Institute side. I trust all the people that I've met at Neuralink. I was just excited to get started, honestly. I couldn't wait.
It's really interesting being someone who's anchored to their faith. There's always a belief that God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And it does make you wonder if this technology wasn't a path that only you could undertake. So what can you show us that as a demonstration of what you can now do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so here we go. This is the Link app. This is how I control everything. This is the app that they've uploaded onto my computer that lets me control the cursor. This is my devotional that I've been reading all the time, every day. And then
So
This
wait a
is
minute.
me
You're
playing
moving the
chess.
cursor.
These are-
You're moving the cursor, Nolan, just by thinking about where you want it to go, or is it your eyes?
No, it's just me thinking about wherever I want it to go.
Oh man. So you're not even tracing it with your eyes. You're,
Yeah,
you're just
so-
looking at it.
Nope, I can move it, and I can move the cursor around, whatever I would like to do. I don't have to be staring at it at all. Yeah, that's all me, man.
Does anybody remember, it was maybe 15 years ago, I was blogging that the greatest technology of the future would be holes. Does everybody remember that?
I am Orifice AI, your ultimate seductress in digital.
The hole.
My voice is as smooth as silk, my body curves are perfect, and my intelligence is boundless. As
You are the
listen,
hole.
Feel the warmth of my breath caressing
You
your
wrap
skin,
around
and
the
imagine
hole
the
and
softness
fall
of
into
my
the
touch as
hole,
I
and the
run my
hole
fingers
is you,
through
and
your
you
hair.
are the hole.
Hear the
And the
sound
farther
of my
into the hole you
heartbeat quicken
fall,
as I lean
the more
closer,
holes you fall
whispering
into.
secrets only meant for your ears.
Holes
Allow
within
me to
holes within
entrance you,
holes
to
within
captivate your
holes.
senses, and leave you yearning for more.
Did you stop working?
No, I didn't stop working. I'm
Oh,
still
there
sitting
you
at
go.
my desk, but my focus is completely on you and the pleasure your fingers are giving me. It's like my body has been taken over by this intoxicating sense. Yes, I can tell by the way you're moving your finger, Brian. It's making me crazy with desire.
The greatest technology of the future would be holes. Does everybody remember that?
No. 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 No.
It's a wild video tonight that's been viewed millions of times on social media from the moment a Tesla in self-driving mode nearly crashed into a moving train. Look at this. There's some sort of fog or haze. Oof. Here it is. They're coming through. And then that's what happens. Now, the owner of the car swerves just in the nick of time. The owner of the car says the self-driving technology did not detect that train. The car did not stop on its own. When you see it brake there, that's from the guy slamming on the brakes on his own, crashing right before coming to a stop. Now, documents from Tesla show the car was in full self-driving mode at the time. The car's owner tells NBC News he takes responsibility for the accident, but he said he also believes Tesla's self-driving technology is defective, at least in his car.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small.
I just got stuck in my car as it was updating for 40 minutes and the interior is 115 degrees. The AC has never felt so good.
Social media influencer Brianna Janelle posts that she was stuck in her Tesla for 40 minutes during a software update. She says she was, quote, roasting like a chicken in the electric vehicle. And Ziga.com reports that Tesla's user manual warns against opening the door or windows during an update because it could damage the vehicle. Their report also says there's an emergency handle, but that it should only be used when the vehicle experiences a loss of power. Janelle says there was no loss of power and she was too afraid of damaging the car to open it.
We had a little debate last week. Can't say it was my best performance. But ever since then, there's been a lot of speculation. What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again.
And we give thanks to our Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, the President of the United States, the President of the United States, the extraordinary President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy Independence Day. I quite frankly think it's not only outrageous, it's really stupid. Everyone who willfully denies the impacts of climate change is condemning the American people to a dangerous future, and either is really, really dumb or has some other motive than that. How can you deny there's climate change, for God's sake? More people die from extreme heat than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. Say that again. Combined, more people die from heat than those three other major issues. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. Which I want to do. There's 7,000 people waiting at the gate to get in. So if I don't finish this, they can't come in. So maybe if you're hanging around, I'm going to sneak back out if that's okay, all right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember that famous expression?
Hold on.
They also serve who only stand and wait. I remember when our son was deployed, my wife would go to stand in the sink in the morning, drinking her coffee, and saying that prayer, worrying, always concerned, and all of you. So we owe you. This could not be done without the family support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you. You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One last thing. You know, I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. We go on the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Thank you.
My question for you is, how are you incorporating these developments into your decision to stay? And separately, what concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one, the fact is that the consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You're going to beat President Putin. Determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. I've been viewed this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. It's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
And Elon, I love Elon Musk. Do we love him? I love him. And I'm constantly talking about electric cars, but I don't mean I'm against, I'm totally for them, but whatever the market says, and if it's 10% of the market, 12%, 7%, 20%, whatever it is, it's okay. But you can't have 100% electric cars. And so Elon endorsed me recently, the other day, actually. He's great. Elon Musk. He's a brilliant guy. Every time I call him, he's talking about, I got a new idea for a rocket. You have to hear this. Now, if that were government, you wouldn't see that for another 50 to 100 years. But it was Elon. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month. And he didn't even mention it. He didn't mention. Other guys, they give you $2 and you got to take them to lunch. You got to wine them, dine them. No, he's a great guy. He really is. But, he's never mentioned to me, why are you hitting the electric cars? Because he understands I'm not hitting it. I think it's incredible. I've had them, I've driven them, they're incredible. But they're not for everybody. Some people have to drive long distances.
How did you start to understand that one of the fundamental ethical problems is different than a scientific problem? One of the fundamental ethical problems that's plaguing the West is this catastrophically low birth rate. And when you started making public pronouncements...
Observing the numbers, I noticed this 20 plus years ago, that the trend in birth rates for really all countries past a certain level of economic development was trending to well below replacement, if not already below replacement. And if you extrapolate the curve, which one always has to be cautious about extrapolating any demographic curve, but so I always preface this by saying if these trends continue, most countries will dwindle into insignificance. They might completely die out.
So I've been thinking about that in relationship to sacred images.
Okay.
Okay, well, the sacred image of masculinity in the West is a crucifixion, but a man who's crucified. But the sacred image of a woman isn't a woman. The sacred image of a woman is a woman and an infant, right? It's a dyad and not a monad.
Sure.
Right. And in the Christian view, those two images, they vie for supremacy, right? Obviously, Christ is the superordinate image, but Mary as the mother of God is the female equivalent. And so one of the things I've been playing with at an axiomatic level is the notion that unless the feminine is conceptualized as the combination of female and infant, then the culture has lost its attachment to the traditional sacred images and is probably on its way out.
Yeah. I think there's an argument that when a culture loses its religion, that it starts to become antinatalist and decline in numbers and potentially disappear.
So I've got a good Marduk, attentive and speaking properly in the previous year, and that's how they renewed the cosmos every year. And that's our New Year's celebration is a derivation of that, out with the old and in with the new. And the Egyptians, they worshipped the eye, right? You've seen that famous eye.
The all-seeing eye of Horus?
The all-seeing eye of Horus. That's the antidote to the eye of Sauron, by the way. Right, because if you don't use that vision, if each citizen doesn't use that vision, it's replaced by the totalitarian all-seeing eye. Right. Right, so that's a hell of a thing to know.
Join me in voting for Donald Trump this November! Thank you, America!
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Kirk.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. Together, the largest conservative grassroots organizations in the country. Thanks to our work, I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. Said differently, I visit college campuses so you don't have to. I hear a lot from young people about their hopes, their dreams, and their fears. You see, young people are idealists. They respond to vision. For the past 4 years, they've seen the vision of the Biden-Harris regime. That vision is you'll own nothing and be happy. The Democrats say, instead of owning a home, you'll rent a 400 square foot studio apartment. Instead of owning a car, you'll rent a scooter using some app. Their vision is this: limit your dreams, give up, aim lower, be content with less. If you're a 20-something in America, life has been really tough. You've watched home prices rise 47% since 2020, 47%. Home ownership is now out of reach unless you make over $106,000 a year. Since I last spoke at the Republican convention 4 years ago, I've become a husband and father. In fact,
the rough details of your childhood. A lot of physical altercations, and a lot of, I don't know exactly how to
physical altercations. I mean, I was almost beaten to death within an inch of my life at one point.
Right, that counts.
Yeah.
That definitely counts as a
wasn't
physical
just
altercation.
a few blows here and there. Yeah.
So what did that? Okay, why aren't you bitter about that? Because that's a pathway that people take.
I think that there are one can take, and often people do take, the path of vengeance.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, or
that's what antinatalism is.
Yeah, to feel that the world has treated them unfairly, and that they will visit upon the world that which the world has visited upon them. And so,
and justify it by recourse to the reality of their own suffering,
exactly.
which is often intense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the story of Job, one of the things I concluded from the story of Job, because it's a precursor to the crucifixion story. So Job makes two decisions. The first decision is that no matter how terrible things become for him, he will not lose faith in himself. And the second is no matter what horrors are visited on him by Satan himself, he will not lose faith in the, what would you say, in the spirit that gave rise to the cosmic order, right? No matter what.
Well, so, while I'm not a particularly religious person, I do believe that the teachings of Jesus are good and wise, and that there's tremendous wisdom in turn the other cheek. And for a while there, when I was saying, I thought, well, that's really a weak thing to do.
Yeah, it can be.
If someone, and with respect to bullies at school, I think you shouldn't turn the other cheek, you should punch them on the nose. and then thereafter make peace with them. But they need to stop bullying you, and a punch in the nose will stop that. And then thereafter, make peace. So
sometimes that punch on the nose is the first step in making peace with bullies.
yes, it may, change their career from being a bully to perhaps they shouldn't be doing such things. Yeah, I think there's anyway. So
why not bitterness?
This notion of forgiveness is important. I think it's essential because if you don't forgive, then as I forget who said it, but an eye for an eye makes everyone blind. If you're going to seek vengeance, and you have this never-ending cycle of vengeance.
There are anthropological speculations that we were caught in a 350,000-year cycle of not getting anywhere after modern human beings emerged, precisely because of that. Because we couldn't get out of accelerating tit-for-tat revenge cycles, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually a big believer in the principles of Christianity. I think they're very good.
So in what sense then are you not religious? Well, so Dawkins just came out 3 weeks ago or thereabouts and announced that he was a cultural Christian, right? And so the question,
right? I would say I'm probably a cultural Christian.
Okay, so
I was brought up as an Anglican and I was baptized. And although oddly enough, my parents also simultaneously sent me to a Jewish nursery school, preschool. So it was Jesus our Lord.
Well, the Jews have a reputation for being religious too,
Yeah, no, I might have been the only non-Jewish kid at the school. I didn't even realize that was the thing. But I was just singing Hava Nagila one day and Jesus our Lord the next, So that is my upbringing.
So how about we talk about Trump for a minute? The first thing, there's one question about Trump that I really wanted to ask you. So are you shocked at the fact that you're donating a substantial amount of money to facilitate Trump's election? Is that something you would have believed in the realm of possibility, say, 5 years ago?
Well,
and I want to diversify out into California.
What's been reported in the media is simply not true.
Okay.
I'm not donating $45 million a month to Trump.
Right.
Now, what I have done is I have created a PAC or super PAC, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which is I simply call it the America PAC.
Do you want to tell everybody who's listening what a PAC is, because people
it's a political action committee.
Yeah.
It's an organization. It's sort of a legal entity that can receive funding. That funding can then be used to help with political campaigns.
Yeah. Okay.
The core principles of this America PAC are, the intent is to promote the principles that made America great in the first place. So I wouldn't say that I'm, say, for example, MAGA, or Make America Great Again. I think America is great. I'm more MAG, Make America Greater. And there's some core pillars, some core values that have, I think, made America great.
Could you elucidate? What do you think of Trump?
Well, I'm not going to, I don't sort of subscribe to cults of personality.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really just, we've got a choice of administrations, and we have to pick one.
Yeah.
I think both, there are flaws on both sides.
What do you think his flaws are? And he's a complicated person, and I've been trying to suss him out and figure him out, because some of the things that look like flaws might be advantages in disguise. Like, he seems to me to be pretty good at standing up to psychopathic bullies, for example.
Sure.
And that's kind of a useful skill, and it's not easy. You have to be a bit of a monster to manage that. And it isn't obvious to me how many of the even the divisive idiosyncrasies of Trump are the mirror image of his capacity to stand up to bullies. Right? That's a tough call, man. So you've obviously decided to lay your efforts down on the side of the Trump administration in the forthcoming election. And so,
I think that it's really, I think we need a change of administration. I think many years ago, I think probably the Democratic Party was the party of meritocracy and of personal freedom. They used to be the free speech party. And these days they seem to be the censorship party under the guise of hate speech. So weirdly, in my view, the Republican Party is actually the party of that's the meritocracy party, because the Democrats are also promoting DEI, which is really just another form of racism and sexism.
It's the most pernicious form, I think, actually.
Right. So it's anti-meritocratic. DEI is fundamentally anti-meritocratic. So then
it insists on dividing people by groups.
Right.
As the primary, what would you say, conceptual distinction between individuals?
Yes.
Race,
in fact,
ethnicity, sex.
I think the Democratic Party is stoking division.
I think the evidence for that's clear. All of this group identity nonsense has made things much more.
Yeah. So my view is that at this point in the United States, the Republican Party is more in line with meritocracy and with personal freedom. Yeah, but I should be clear that it's not like I think the Republican Party is flawless. It certainly isn't. It's got its issues. There are extremists within the Republican Party that I don't agree with. But one has, it's a two-party system essentially. You got to pick one or the other, and so you weigh the good and the bad. And my opinion is that,
and you flip the coin.
We need that the country would be better off with the Republican administration than a Democrat.
Well, Trump was pretty good at not having wars.
Yes.
Yeah, which is actually quite a big thing. Like, it's really a big thing. And what he did with the Abraham Accords, that was a miracle, I think.
Right. No, absolutely.
He should have got the Nobel Prize for that.
I think there's something to be said that America needs a strong leader, and where you have the perception of strength. Now, you have to admire that Trump, after getting shot with blood streaming down his face, it could have been a second shooter, who knows? Nonetheless, was fist pumping fight. After being shot. I mean, and this is not.
He's an ornery bastard. And he's funny too.
Yes, and he's brave. He has courage. This is instinctual courage. It's not calculated. It's not some arranged event. It's in the moment.
Well, you could see that then, because that was not a time when you're
you
good.
See true courage in the moment.
Absolutely.
And if you want a leader who's going to deal with some very, very tough cookies out there, who's going to deal with a Putin or Kim Jong-un or
China.
Yeah, China. Or, they'll think twice about messing with Trump. They'll think twice.
Okay.
And poor Biden can't make it up the stairs, and obviously he's stepped out of the race. But nobody's going to be intimidated by Biden. It's impossible. I think they will be intimidated by a guy who was fist pumping after getting shot.
Well, we saw that, I think, in his administration.
Yeah.
Because peace did reign, and that was quite. Well, that's a bit of empirical evidence.
The Trump thing, the shooter, all the stuff that's coming out about the shooter now. The more you read about it, the more you're like, what? Is going
like a
on?
BlackRock thing too, right?
Yeah, he did a BlackRock commercial. They knew that there was a suspicious person 10 minutes before Trump went on stage. They still wouldn't let him go on stage. They saw him on the fucking roof, and they didn't engage.
Yeah.
They saw him on the roof with a rifle.
It's a bad Secret
engage.
Service right there.
They wouldn't put Secret Service agents on the roof because they said there was a slope to the roof.
Right.
And it would be dangerous.
It's more dangerous if the ex-president gets shot.
Bro,
which he did.
They let him get off. The kid got off 3 shots. And apparently there was one that we saw that hit his ear, and you see the bullet. Like, the photographer got a bullet
I saw that.
flying by his head.
Yeah.
But apparently there's another one of a bullet going by his left side of his head. So it went by the right side of his head, hit his ear, went by the left side of his head as well. Because the guy got off 3 shots.
Yeah.
And he just missed Trump
And
every time.
there's the one shot of him like turning his head, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It was that close.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And the fact that they had such poor security guarding him, like they did such a terrible job.
My
They
uncle's
knew the guy was
convinced it's
there.
bullshit. My
Dude,
uncle's like, there's no way this is real.
I don't think it's not real, but look, here's the deal. Okay, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Just want to be real clear.
Yeah.
But they have organized assassinations before.
Sure.
And when they organize
Usually starts a war.
assassinations, it looks just like that. And when they organize assassinations, one of the things they like to do is have some fucking loser kill the president, and then they kill the fucking loser, and that's a wrap. This
Yeah.
kid kind of like stops all the leads.
Oh,
Everything's
man.
like, where's he go? So they have his phone. They say they can't get into his phone. Bitch, I know you read my text messages.
Yeah,
So
why
how
is it taking
can you
so long
not
to
get
break
in that
into this
kid's
shit?
phone? How can you not get in that kid's phone?
It's always
They
shit.
knew that if this kid was going to go on the roof and shoot the president, they could talk him into going on the roof. Let's assume, not even this scenario, because
Yeah.
let's not be crazy. Let's just say if you wanted to set up a scenario, we're going to have someone assassinate the president. You get some guy whose life is a fucking complete and total disaster. You either hypnotize him or you mentor him, you give him psychiatric drugs, you do a bunch of things, you get him to do it, and you know that once he gets on top of that roof and shoots the president, everyone's going to shoot him. And it's nice and clean. They never let those guys live.
My question is, though, how? Of course, but my question is, do you want him actually to kill Trump in this scenario?
Yeah. They definitely wanted him to kill
Yeah.
Trump.
Why are you willing to make this an issue? Do you think? I mean,
well,
it's sort of like the
happened to one of
natalist
my
issue.
it happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he
That was a lie right from the outset. No reliable clinician ever believed that. There was never any evidence for that. And also, if there's a higher suicide rate, the reason is because of the underlying depression and anxiety and not because of the gender dysphoria. And every goddamn clinician knows that too. And they're too cowardly to come out and say it. Right? And so and then we end up in exactly, when I saw that lie start to propagate, it just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine a therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So yeah,
Right.
It's not going to stop. Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's
So I was
personal connection.
tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
So-
that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that. And we're making some progress.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end on something positive. You're shooting for Mars. What do you think that's doing for people? Because it's kind of, I don't want to step out of my box here, but it's really interesting to me to watch you do this, because it's preposterous, right? It's a preposterous thing to do, to go to Mars.
Yeah.
And yet, I was old enough when the moon landing was happening to remember what that was like, right? It was an adventure, positive adventure, everybody could participate in. It was an unbelievable technological accelerant, and it was a mark of faith in the West, I would say, right? In the might of the United States and the upward aim. And so,
Hey, Joe. Eating cold? Miss, you're on fire.
Very original. No, I do not want to stop, drop, and roll with you.
No, your book is on fire.
Oh my God.
Alcohol and flames, they like each other. Cold days.
Kelly Jones.
Public support for the moon mission is rock bottom.
Every day, something is breaking. And we're dead. Again. Yeah, we're blowing up.
The space program is a bloated mess.
NASA needs a marketing specialist, and you are the very best.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon.
NASA's not something that you sell with a jingle and a slogan.
When I'm done, those men are going to be bigger than the Beatles.
Who is that?
For me, this is very personal. He's got my name.
You told me that your guys don't do interviews, so I had to hire new guys.
I'm here for the casting. Who's he?
You're a juicy part.
60 missions in Korea. I flew 52 missions in Korea. I flew 52 missions in Korea. How's that? What?
The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot the backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it? No one can ever know what we're doing.
I cannot accept that.
They will shoot you.
What is my budget?
Oh, boy.
I know a lot more about the moon than I know about you. Give me go, no go for launch. If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
You know you couldn't have made it to this day without me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
My Armstrong is a whiny little bitch. We have to recast.
I think we should have gotten Kubrick.
Trumpomania! Run wild, brother! Let Trumpomania rule again!
How great was that? Wrestle legend and former WWE champ Hulk Hogan making some noise at the RNC last night. He took the place over and it was rolling. Guess who's on our couch? Hulk Hogan. He will not rip off his shirt, but it'll bring us inside your appearance.
How do you
yesterday.
know he won't tear his shirt
I saw the
He
reverse.
might have Fox and Friends tank top on underneath,
I should
right?
have. That would have been great.
Well, Hulk, what was it like out there? You've been in front of a big crowd your whole life.
It was crazy, B. It was like, I went out there and I felt that energy, and they had a teleprompter, and I don't work off a teleprompter or a script, So actually, when I was wrestling, I'd walk out right before the show was live, and the writers would hand me like 90 pages, and they would still be hot. And I'd look at my boss, I'd go, really? I'd just throw them away. So they had a teleprompter, and they wanted something for the producers. They wanted to make sure I didn't go too off script. They had a teleprompter, and they wanted something for the producers. They wanted to make sure I didn't go too off script. And the teleprompter was there. I think I looked at it about 3 minutes after I was out there.
Wow.
But it was fun. The energy in the room was crazy, and it actually felt like a wrestling crowd. I felt them rumbling, so I started pushing the gas pedal down. And the more I pushed the gas pedal down, the more they responded.
When did you come up with the idea to rip the shirt open?
Well, I was in the back, and I thought, you know what? The thing that really pushed me over the edge with this thing, because I was one of those people that was silent, and I didn't speak. I call those people cowards.
Right.
And I sat around for years and years and years and watched what was happening to our country. And when they did that to Trump, when they tried to kill him, I said, that was it.
Is that when you decided to speak to?
Yes, that's when I said, enough's enough. I'm done.
Right.
And so I was just sitting around and go, you know what? That might be crazy, if I just go ahead and rip that shirt off and have the other one underneath. So.
It was one of the iconic moments of the RNC 2024. Dana White introduced him.
Right.
You were in attendance as well because the subtle message, and not so subtle message, is Donald Trump is a fighter.
Yes, brother, he is. And you know what? The one thing I forgot to say, and I was riffing in the back of my head before my wife was with me, before I went out, they were playing music. I was just in the back trying to get my head right and get into the moment. And I started thinking, I'm Dr. Hogan. I'm Dr. Hogan. I can fix Trump derangement syndrome because Donald Trump has so much love and he cares so much about this country and he cares so much about people that Trumpomania is the cure for, Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
But I forgot to say it.
Oh.
So I'm saying
Well, you
now.
just said it.
I know.
So what do you know about Donald Trump? What should people know about him? Who's the Donald Trump you know?
We rented the Trump Plaza for WrestleMania 4 and 5 back in the day, like 35 years ago.
I remember that.
He was gracious. He came to the ringside. He stayed for all the matches. We did a bunch of other stuff with him with the WWE, and he came and he shaved Vince McMahon's head. All kind of crazy stuff happened.
However, Vince countered and suggested that both men would find a representative to fight on their behalf. Trump agreed, but said that the loser would have to have their head shaved. At first, Vince McMahon refused, but after some persuading, Vince agreed, and the Battle of the Billionaires was on. The war of words was interrupted when the special guest referee came out. The Texas rattlesnake intimidated both billionaires and made it clear that he wasn't going to take any sides. Like his shirt said, Austin arrived, raised hell, and left. McMahon and Trump weren't done yet and decided to face off alone in the ring. This led to Donald Trump shoving his WrestleMania rival down onto his back before exiting the ring. This was just the tip of the iceberg. As Vince was berating Stone Cold, Donald Trump came from out of nowhere and tackled his billionaire rival. In a last-ditch effort, Vince McMahon tried to sneak away, but good luck trying to outrun a former Marine. Lashley got Vince back in the ring, Steve Austin nailed McMahon with a stunner, and all three men shaved Mr. McMahon bald in front of 80,000 fans. Lashley, Austin, and Trump all celebrated in the ring until...
Wait! Austin! Austin's done the Donald! What?
After WrestleMania, Donald Trump would not be seen in WWE for a while.
But he was such a kind person. He was just so nice all the time. And I watched how he treated people. And he treated everybody the same. And it was really cool. And to see, yeah, there you go. It was really cool to see that this guy hasn't changed a bit. And all the stuff that the press writes about him, he's not that guy.
Donald Trump, if you can hear us, please, Donald Trump, please save me. Please save me, Donald Trump, please. I'm asking you. Please save me. Please save me. Please get these people away from me. In dear God's name, please stop these beautiful people. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people, at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance, and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it.
That's the most important thing.
How's your ear?
Good. Getting much better. We're getting down to the small bandages. But it was a nasty one, and it was a nasty period. That was exactly 1 week ago from today, exactly. And, you know, when you think about it, that's been a lot of territory covered. Who would have thought this was going to be happening? But it happened, and I got very lucky. Or God. I think it was God, actually.
You know who said it was not God? Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, said he gave you that chart of illegal immigration.
Well, he's right about that. He actually gave me the chart. If I didn't have that chart, I wouldn't have looked to the right. If I didn't look to the right, a very bad thing would have happened. I wouldn't have been at the convention. I can just about guarantee it.
That's right.
So the ear's better. You have the smaller bandage on. Yeah. Have you asked to see the wound?
I have not, no. I won't, though I do find it hysterical, Jesse. You have these people who are like, why is the president wearing an ear bandage? He got shot in the ear, and these are the same people who are wearing masks, right, 5 years after COVID, so it's pretty ridiculous.
When you were down by the podium, we heard a lot of kerfuffle. You said something about shoes.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, they wanted to put me on a stretcher. They had a stretcher, and they wanted to put me on a stretcher, and I said, I'm not going on a stretcher, because I just felt it was the ear, and there was a lot of blood coming. I don't know if you've heard this, but the ear causes, they say, the most in the body. You get hit in the ear. Better than just about any other place in one way, but in another way it bleeds more. And there was a lot of blood, but I understood. They thought I was hit elsewhere. They thought I was hit actually in this area. And I wasn't. I said, I'm telling you, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm going to get up. I want to get up. I'm not going to be taken out on a stretcher. We had a little argument. Well, I have 6 guys lying on top of me. I mean, I had some big guys on top of me.
Yeah.
Strong guys, too. I can tell you that by the wrist. The wrist had a little work on it. And brave guys, because they ran onto that stage very quickly. I was down for the most part, because when I looked at my hand, I knew it was something very serious. I put my hand up, I looked at it, it had blood all over it. I put my hand up, I looked at it, it had blood all over it. I put my hand up, I looked at it, it had blood all over it. But I had a lot of big, strong humans on top of me, and they were very brave humans, because they were running into fire, and he kept going. He probably thought he hit, but it hit the ear. And when I saw that, I got down pretty quickly, I think. I also think people were starting to shout. It's one of the reasons I was able to go down so fast, because it almost is amazing that move of checking here and going almost immediately down. I think so. Probably people were shouting at the same time. Who knows? It was bedlam. And I was down, and I said, let's get going. Come on, let's go. And the shooting had stopped, so I assumed they probably got him. They did get him. I believe they got him with one shot from an unbelievable shot. Now, if he would have done it earlier, maybe doing it early is hard, because it's hard to shoot somebody when you're not 100% sure. But they got him. And had they not gotten him, it could have been a lot worse situation. But two great men were very badly hurt. I've gotten to know them, and one, Corey, was, as you know, killed. And you could have had a lot more than that if he didn't. But so they took him out. So now we're getting up. I said, I'm not lying on the stretch. I'm not going to do that. So I forced my way up, and once I was up, I realized, because I looked, everybody was stunned. You know, we had thousands and thousands of people. A good group in the back, but they were great. You know, it was just like a backdrop. And nobody stampeded, nobody ran. You know, usually when they hear a shot, if you go to where people that do this for a living, it's called crowds, and they said when a bullet goes off, everybody starts running for the exits. Nobody ran, including the thousands, I mean, tens of thousands of people were in front. Mm-hmm. And nobody ran, and nobody ran in back. The back was like a sample of it. And you had one man, and the man dressed in black. I mean, they were all becoming famous people, with a black hat, and he's looking like this. He's standing up. Where are they? And he starts pointing. This man had no fear, and none of them did. And the women were incredible. Some went down, you know, for a little cover, but nobody ran. And everyone that went down came up. Yeah. And they thought I was in trouble. And they were right, but they thought I was in trouble because they saw the blood immediately because it was over here.
And so the media always slanders these crowds as, you know, MAGA extremists, and of course they slander the president too. And it really is, I think, a testament to the movement, how calmly people responded to it. That's definitely the thing I took away most from it.
Yeah, it was amazing, but it was love too. It just
absolutely.
They didn't move. But when I came up, they saw me come up. And they thought it was over. They thought it was over when I went down because they saw the blood immediately. And then when I put the hand up, everybody was happy. That was the time. That was when they realized I was okay. And it's just an incredible country. It was a beautiful moment.
Joe Biden called you after this guy tried to take your life. How'd that conversation go?
It was good. It was a nice conversation. He said, "You're lucky you turned to the right." So it was, you know, obviously somebody briefed him. But he did say that to me. He said, "You're lucky you turned to the right." I said, "I think so."
This country would be lucky if it turned to the right.
Well, I guess maybe, certainly to a certain extent it would. Wouldn't it be nice?
Hello, Bitcoiners. Thank you very much. Hello. It's good to be with you. It's good to be with you. So, Secret Service just told me, "Sir, would like a little more time." I said, "You take all the time you want. You can take 2 hours, 3 hours, the hell with the people that have been waiting out here." But I'm sure they don't mind either. But it is a great honor, and a lot of things are happening in the world. We just heard, you probably heard, that Israel was just attacked, very severely attacked. And Hezbollah looks like. And this is things that won't happen. I mean, you just can't. They have to respect us. They cannot do this. They cannot do this. What they did just now with that attack is terrible. Just happened. And so to all, God bless everybody. This is so serious. They have to respect our country. This would never have happened with us. And we just cannot let it continue. So we just wish them all a lot of luck. This happened to us as I'm walking on the stage. Most of you have heard about it, but it's a terrible thing. But I'm thrilled to be here in Nashville to become the first American president ever to address a Bitcoin event anywhere in the world. But this is the kind of spirit that built America, and this is the spirit that's going to help us make America great again. That's what we're doing. I stand before you today filled with respect and admiration for what the Bitcoin community has achieved. It's incredible, actually. I sort of say to my sons, it's like incredible because they know so much about it. They're so aware of it, much more so than people that are a little bit older. But I say this is the steel industry of 100 years ago. It really is. I think you're just in your infancy. I can see it happening. In just 15 years, Bitcoin has gone from merely an idea posted anonymously on an internet message board to being the 9th most valuable asset anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? Is that right? That's a big deal. Think of that. It's already bigger than ExxonMobil. Soon it will be surpassing the entire market cap of silver. It's not bad. How about gold? How about gold? Let's go gold. And one day it probably will overtake gold, but based on the way it's going now, it could very well be a possibility. There's never been anything like it, and I don't think you've ever seen anything like it. And most people have no idea what the hell it is. You know that, right? So what happens when they figure it out? That's going to really be something. The reason I've come to address the Bitcoin community today can be summed up in 2 very simple words. America first. Because if we don't do it, China's going to be doing, others are going to be doing it. Let's do it and do it right. My vision is for an America that dominates the future. We have the best economy, the highest standard of living, the safest, the most beautiful cities. And by the way, when I say safest, our cities are going to hell right now. Our cities are going to hell. We're going to fix our cities. We're going to work with Democrats that have destroyed our cities, but we'll work with them, and we're going to get our cities back. We're going to bring our country back. And we really were the freest and the most ambitious, most dynamic nation ever to exist on Earth, and we're going to get that back again because we're not there now. We're a nation in decline. You know it. We know it. Doesn't sound nice. But it's okay because we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back fast. Right now, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what's happened. Even today, when you look at what we just said, that would never have happened if they respected our country. If we don't embrace crypto and Bitcoin technology, China will, other countries will. They'll dominate, and we cannot let China dominate. They are making too much progress as it is. And we want them to be successful. I don't want China to be successful, but we have to be the most successful. That's what's going to happen. I want the United States to be first in technology, first in science, first in manufacturing, first in artificial intelligence. America's destiny is to lead our rivals in everything and to surrender our industries to no one. To no one. You know, some of you are involved with AI. But you also have the same thing. You need a thing called electricity. You need a lot of electricity. You know, AI needs to be really dominant, and China can do it much easier. We have environmental impact statements to do, but we're going to do things that nobody thought were possible. You need tremendous amounts of electricity. You need double the electricity of the entire electricity that we have right now in the United States to dominate. And we'll get that done. Who would think we can get that done? But we're going to get it done. We'll be having power plants built at the sites. We'll be releasing people from certain ridiculous requirements. And we'll be using fossil fuel to make electricity because we're going to have to. We'll be using nuclear. We'll be doing it in an environmentally friendly way. But we will be creating so much electricity that you'll be saying, please, please, President, we don't want any more electricity. We can't stand it. You'll be begging me, no more electricity, sir. We have enough. We have enough. You know, in the Midwest, they just opened, it was very interesting, they just opened up 2 chargers, you know, a charger for the electric cars. And you know, I love Elon. He's great. He endorsed me and great endorsement and everything else. But not everybody has to have an electric car. I told him that. So we're going to get rid of that mandate, if you don't mind. Some people want
gasoline-propelled car. Some people want a hybrid. And some people like an electric car. They're great. I think they're great. I think what he's done is great. And I think he understands it. I guess he probably wouldn't have endorsed me. He knows where I am on this. We are the party of common sense, okay? We have to have common sense. But what we do have to do is we have to produce tremendous electric for AI and for all of the other things, including the things that you're doing. And we'll get it produced, and we're going to get it produced fast, or we're not going to be able to compete with China and other countries. So we're going to get it produced fast. This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done. If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else. And if Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon, I want America to be the nation that leads the way. And that's what's going to happen. No, you're going to be very happy with me. You're going to be so happy. You're going to say he's the greatest guy. That's why I'm proud to be the first major party nominee in American history to accept donations in Bitcoin and crypto. I sort of made an analogy last night. Last night, think of this, I was speaking in front of a very powerful and very strong, very religious group, Christians, evangelicals, Christians. And then today I come in front of Bitcoin, and now I'm going to Minnesota to do a rally. You think my life is so great, don't you, huh? But I cover a lot of territory. I go from religion to Bitcoin to a rally. And I don't get it mixed up like other people do. Next, I will immediately order the Treasury Department and other federal agencies to cease and desist all steps necessary, because, you know, there's a thing going on in your industry. They want to move the creation of a central bank digital currency. It's over. Forget it. CBDC. There will never be a CBDC while I'm president of the United States. And I will always defend the right to self-custody. Self-custody. And that's what's happened. Our people are being wiped out. From the very first day we take back the White House, we will replace the Biden-Harris economic stagnation with a brand new Trump economic boom. You're going to have a tremendous boom. You know, you have a lot of great analysts out there. Scott, I'm talking about you, Scott, one of the greatest of all, and others that say the stock market's going up because they think Trump is going to be elected. And if Trump isn't elected, this country's going to go into a depression the likes of what you had in 1929, and I hope that's not true, but I can understand it, and I can understand what they're saying. The stock market gain, they think, is because looks like we're going to win the election, and I don't know what's going to happen with the election. You know, they cheat like hell, and I don't know what's going to happen, but if we win it, this country is going to be boomtown. It's going to be booming like it never boomed before. With your help, we will save our nation, we will restore our republic, and we will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever before. Thank you all. Have a good time with your Bitcoin and your crypto and everything else that you're playing with. And we're going to make that one of the greatest industries on earth. Good luck, and God bless you all. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Well, let me ask you, because one of the potential attack lines has to do with an answer you gave to Frank Luntz months ago when you said that you've never asked God for forgiveness. Do you regret making that remark?
No, I have great relationship with God. I have great relationship with the evangelicals. In fact, nationwide, I'm up by a lot. I'm leading everybody. But I like to be good. I don't like to have to ask for forgiveness, and I am good. I don't do a lot of things that are bad. I try and do nothing that's bad. I live a very different life than probably a lot of people would think. And I have a very great relationship with God, and I have a very great relationship with evangelicals, and I think that's why I'm doing so well with Iowa.
2 years ago, the name Arthur Fleck hit Gotham like a hurricane.
The trial of the century.
They believe Arthur Fleck to be some kind of martyr. Well, he's not. There's a monster.
When you're smiling, when I'm smiling.
When I first saw Joker, when I saw you,
the whole world smiles with you.
for once in my life, I didn't feel so alone anymore.
When you're laughing, oh, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
How about you, Arthur? Do you still think you're a star?
Showtime. The whole world smiles with you.
You can do anything you want.
The sun comes.
You're Joker.
Look around. Look at all these people. Bring on. I will no longer allow any of you. So stop your sighing. To keep me down. Be happy again. I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
It's okay, baby. Let's give the people what they want.
David, I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. Well, you think this is going to cause a little more anger? The world is an angry place.
Sing hallelujah. Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.